Hello everybody, how are you doing? This is so exciting. I'm just going to see if I can move my camera here. This is so exciting to be live in our newly named Sober Souls group. I have also got you live on my iPad so that I can hopefully see comments. I know there's a little bit of a lag, so says I'm live. I should hopefully pop up in a second. Let me just come out. There we go. I can see I'm live. So hopefully there will be some gorgeous people joining me in a moment. I can see someone's watching. Welcome, welcome. Swipe left to reveal comments. So let me see if I can actually multitask and do this on my iPad at the same time, because of course I want to see your comments as you drop them in. Bear with, I am not great with technology. Okay. Swiping the wrong way. That's what it is, swiping the wrong way. So, hello beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me live. And I really am grateful to you for being here. And I wanted to come in live to give a few updates on what's been going on and kind of the slight change that I in my own journey have been making. It's nothing really major, but it just feels so good. And I just want to bring you all along with me. And as I always say, we're on this journey together. So quick update. I started this group originally about 5 or so years ago, and then previous to that, a couple of years before, I started another Sober Sisters group. But at that time I had really high anxiety. I was very newly sober, very early days, and just coming, you know, even having a Facebook group and things absolutely freaked me out. And I deleted the group a couple of times, and maybe some of you even remember me doing that, and I am so sorry. I am in a totally different place now. I started this group. Welcome to those that are joining me. Thank you for being here live. I started this group originally to have people along with me for the ride, for doing it together. I've always loved inspiring and motivating people, and to receive you know, that inspiration and that wisdom from others as well, because we all help each other on this journey. And then as I went along and I started my coaching business, and then, you know, I went on my own journey with that. I then started another group, which was our sister group, Sober Sisters Rise. And I was really helping women in there, really similar kind of to leave grey area drinking. And then I decided, actually, I really want to work with men, women, people who are from all walks of life, no matter who they identify as, who they are. We are all souls. So I want to have my words heard by whoever wants to hear them, whoever wants to feel them, whoever wants to receive that. And that really is at that soul, that deep soul level. I always love to say that I work with souls really at that deeper level. And this is a big part of my own journey as I'm going deeper in with that. So really excited to be here. This is going to be a regular weekly live in the group. Also, YouTube channel has changed names. It's still the same link. I'll drop the link in the comments below. So all of these videos will be uploaded to YouTube as well. And there's lots and lots of other exciting things in the pipeline. We're having a new website. It's being created behind the scenes. Lots of exciting things coming. So definitely keep an eye out and watch this space. So today I want to kick off with really just talking a little bit about sober freedom and how it really is a decision away. And that is the first step, and it is the biggest, most life-changing, freeing move that you could make. And it really is an energetic shift. It's a decision. And we arrive at that place when we have reached our enough. When we are sick of the day one cycle, sick of trying to moderate, sick of the whole thinking about drinking. Shall I buy wine, not buy wine? Shall I go to the pub, not buy pub? Shall I go to just have AF drinks? What should I tell people? Blah, blah, blah. All of those drinking thoughts. And it doesn't feel good, and it's exhausting. And as we know, it has such a big impact on us in so many ways. Physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, and into all of our life areas. So I remember one day, and it was the day actually just over 7 years ago when I finally decided, that's it, I have just got to make this work. And my husband had said, you know, he'd had words with me, and he had really made it clear I had to change my ways, or we just weren't going to be able to carry on together. And we'd recently got married, so this was 2 weeks after we got married, and I made that decision. I thought, I've just got to make this work. And I remember a short while after that, I remember standing in my kitchen, and it was the weekend, and I remember thinking, oh, I would just love to go and buy some wine right now. I would just love to drink wine, you know, I can start Monday. Those thoughts were creeping into my head. That's okay, you can start Monday, just go and buy some wine, have a party for one, it's the weekend, everybody's drinking. All of those normal kind of things were going through my head. And here is the moment, and this is if I can tell you anything to be of help, this is the real thing that I understood from this. I listened to that thought, that voice, and I said to myself, here we go again, this is what I always do. I can get in my car, I can go down to the garage, buy wine, because that's what I'd always do. I always got to this certain point and then I'd cave because I thought I was missing out and life was no fun anymore and I didn't like the cravings, etc. And I suddenly thought, now hang on, I know that version of me and I know what will typically happen because that's what always happens. That was my patterning. And then suddenly this curiosity overtook, and I thought, I don't know the version of me that just carries on, the version of me that doesn't quit, that doesn't give in, the one that actually keeps going. Now this is the version of me that I needed to be all in and behind her, jump in her shoes and just embrace the discomfort and just keep going. And I thought, well, yeah, but what about all the other times that are going to come as well? I'm going to have lots and lots of feeling uncomfortable, lots of discomfort. I don't like this. I feel out of my comfort zone. Of course. And then I realised it's my brain trying to keep me safe. My brain is trying to protect me. And it's just telling me it's time to go and buy wine because that's what we always do. And so then that's when I realised all I have to do is to decide to keep going. Yeah, so that's the first part. That's why, because someone asked me a question the other day and she said, when does somebody actually get free? When are they sober? When are they free? There may be very many different answers to that question, but to me it's, well, as long as they're not drinking, they're free. They're free the moment they decide to be, the moment they allow themselves, they put that glass down and it's like, right, I'm sober, I'm not drinking anymore. And yes, alcohol takes a while to, to release from the body, but once we've decided, that's it. And so then, of course, sobriety is a practice. So it's really that case of, okay, well, I've made that commitment to myself and now I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. And that's when my methodology was born, and I use, with my clients, we use the wellness tree. And that was really when my methodology was born, how to really get some kind of guide in place. And I'm going to be talking about that, in this group, and be doing some free trainings and things on that, so that you will have parts of that you can use for you too. But I just want to also talk about my drinking story, because I didn't identify as an alcoholic. I didn't identify I was an addict, but I didn't identify as, I certainly wasn't end of spectrum drinking. I didn't need to be medically detoxed. I didn't black out. The worst that happened was I drank too much, which would have been a bottle to a bottle and a half of wine pretty much most days. And I would go to bed feeling so sick. I remember like really acidy tummy, feeling sick, feeling guilty, feeling ashamed, feeling just very, very, very thirsty, and just, I would have also eaten a ton of junk food. So that really wasn't good, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and think, never again, never doing this again, I need to stop drinking. And I could go a few days, weeks sometimes, but it never ever stuck. So I didn't discover drinking properly until probably when I met my husband, which is around 15 years ago. And when I found wine, I found that it really seemed to help with my confidence, with anxiety, social anxiety. I had previous panic attacks and things like that. Very, very shy, anxious, very withdrawn person. The world didn't feel safe to me. And maybe like you, I had childhood trauma, lots and lots of kind of stuff, roots and things like that. So when I first started drinking, I thought, oh wow, I feel really good. I feel, I like that feeling. And gradually, it became a habit. I was drinking more often, more regularly. I was buying wine. And at the weekends, I was definitely over drinking. It started out as a really fun thing to do, letting my hair down, numbing out, wine time, me time, party for one, felt really good. And then I noticed that I was becoming more reliant on it. I almost feel like I had this mask on where everything was fine from the outside. I had a lovely relationship, I had a nice home to live in, I had my work, things were going great, but really under that mask I was hiding this dirty secret, and I was starting to secretly drink, and it didn't feel good. Every time I tried to stop, that's it, I just went back to it and couldn't figure out how to stay stopped. So then had the conversation with my husband Rich and finally did stop. But then what happened, so I've missed a bit. Rich had a previous illness, very, very long, complicated illness with heart failure. He ended up having a heart transplant. So my relationship with alcohol changed to then be one of, I was using it as comfort. I had so much worry and I was squashing and numbing and just really not having that good relationship with alcohol at all. Not that I think we can have a good relationship with it at all. So finally quit. But then what happened when I quit, I started eating more sugar. Now, I had a underlying sugar, junk food eating, binge eating addiction anyway, something which I had done since I was 5 years old. So when I stopped drinking, I literally transferred that addiction back onto food. And I'd had some really weird stuff going on with food, from not being able to eat. I wasn't anorexic, but just not eating, and then having a food phobia, which sounds just so strange now when I think back to it, but it certainly felt very, very real at the time. That was all linked in with the panic attacks, etc. So there I was, really, by the end of my first year sober, had this huge sugar issue. Then I decided, right, got to tackle the sugar thing. So since then, so that was 7 years ago. Hi Dees, lovely to see you here. Gorgeous, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited I can see comments on my iPad. Thank you. So just then I decided to tackle the sugar thing. So I've been on this sugar freedom journey for 6 years. And that is another whole journey in itself. And it's not 100% sugar free, but it's finding the right plan, the right eating plan to get freedom from sugar. So I don't really eat refined sugar. I might have a piece of cake once in a blue moon, but if I do, it's just from that place that's really conscious and intentional. And it might be if I'm out with my mum or a friend or something, and that to me is different. I'm aware with sugar, with alcohol, with all of this addiction stuff, it's such a personal journey, and I really, really want to convey that in this group, that we are all on our own journeys, and there are many, many ways of doing sobriety. There are many methods, many different ways of getting sober, and I just really encourage you to find what works for you. So anything I ever say, any words, anything that doesn't resonate, just leave it, take the bits that feel good, that do resonate. So that's really my kind of drinking story. What happened from there is I was very, very, very fortunate to stumble across a lady called Jolene Park, who is the world's leading expert on grey area drinking. And I was so pleased because I suddenly realised that's me, that grey area drinker. And if you don't know what grey area drinking is, imagine that alcohol is on a spectrum. At one end of the drinking spectrum, we have the people who can have, for example, a glass of wine now and again. It's just not a thing for them, just not an issue. And then the other end of the spectrum, we have people who literally can't stop drinking, and they would need to be medically detoxed. And then the whole area in between is this grey area, which is where most people are who have drinking problems. And for me, the term alcoholic, the label alcoholic, doesn't resonate. For some people it does, and that's absolutely fine. Again, if that works, fine. But for me, it doesn't. But what did work was just acknowledging and sort of really accepting that I had a drinking problem. And I needed to stop drinking. And that's all I needed to know. And so I was very fortunate. I was able to have a really intensive training with Jolene Park, specifically for coaches who wanted to really learn more about grey area drinking. This training actually really helped me in my own personal journey so much, and I was really able to feed that into my sugar freedom journey and really understand, what's been going on beneath the surface. Why is it that we really struggle to stop drinking and stay stopped? We can stop drinking, it's the staying stopped. And in the first year, how we have all of the firsts, the first birthdays, the first parties, the first Christmas, the first holidays, there's all these things to practice. But it is a practice, and I really think how fortunate we are that we can get to practice these. So I just also want to say about embracing imperfection. Because although I am 7 years into my sober journey, it has been imperfect. Okay, so many of you know, I've talked about this before, I have had a few drinking experiments. So what are my drinking experiments? So at the end of my first year sober, I believed I could go back and have some wine again. I literally thought, that's okay. You'll be okay now. You've gone sober a whole year. You can go and drink again. You'll be fine. Just moderate. Just be careful. And I thought, actually, I think I could. So I decided to have some wine. I had some wine, and first thing I noticed was how shocked I was at the pull to drink more, which was immediately there. It was like nothing had changed. Plus the fact it tasted absolutely disgusting. But I was really shocked, and I said to myself, oh, it's okay. It's because I need to rewire my brain back to being a drinker. I just need to practice it. And I went a few days drinking. I didn't get drunk. It was just a few days drinking. But it was bloody hard work, and it wasn't worth it. But it did prove to me how much happier I am sober. Now, funny thing happened. Exactly the same thing happened at the end of my second year sober. Exactly the same. And I had another experiment. Well, it was kind of more of an emotional experiment when I lost my dad really suddenly. That was 3 years ago. I am completely admitting it's been totally imperfect. And the reason that I really am embracing this imperfection, because you see, I was really criticized for having those drinking experiments. And I was told, that's it, you failed, you have to go back to day one. Now, for some people, yes, if that works for them, fine. But for me, it didn't feel good. And the thing that I absolutely, really believe is we're not wrong for doing these things. We are just making choices. We are experimenting. We're choosing. We're figuring things out. We're getting our lessons and our feedback. And that's all it is. It's feedback. Many of my clients have many day ones before it finally clicks, before they're ready to let it go. You see, there's foundational pieces that we have to get in place while we are making that transition from leaving the old identity, the drinking identity, and stepping into that new identity. Day ones, as far as I'm concerned, are all part of the process. We are practicing, just like a little baby is learning to walk. It falls over, it gets up, it does it again. And this is the key thing. It's not giving up. It's getting back on track, doing little inventories and seeing how we can do it, better next time. Do we need to support ourselves more? What do we need to have in place? So really embracing imperfection. It's messy, it's muddly, we can feel like hot messes, and it's all okay. And essential ingredients for this is kindness and loving compassion towards ourselves and to others as well. Absolutely key that we really follow this. And I remember beating myself up so many times. It's really easy to do. And we're saying to ourselves, like, why can't I just get this? What's wrong with me? Why am I so useless? Why can't I just figure this out? And the thing is, it's not a logical thing. It's a very holistic thing. There are many, many, many pieces going on beneath the surface. And it really is a feeling journey. And it's tapping into our intuition and following our heart and learning what choices feel good, what choices don't feel good, what feels aligned. Just following those whispers. And as we follow those, we start getting our feedback. We start formulating our plans. Yeah? So I hope this helps. Any questions? I'm totally open to any questions, any comments. Leave them below. Or I'd love to hear from you. Send me a private message. And so looking forward to really all the amazing things that are coming for Sober Souls. Thank you so much to all of you for being in this group, for your continued support, and yes, just love sharing this journey with you. Lots and lots of love. Bye.